I was flabbergasted. And in fact, I didn't even ask for the interview. He heard that I was writing this book, and as this was related to me, the person who told him I was writing the book, he said, "Oh, that guy gets ratings. Let's talk to him." And then I was immediately invited down to Mar-a-Lago. So what this is, again, is that in Donald Trump's world, all attention is good attention. It doesn't matter. It ultimately doesn't matter what I say about him. It ultimately doesn't matter who he's talking to, just as long as somehow he is front and center.
Okay. A couple specifics I want to get to in the book. So when you write about Black Lives Matter in reference to Trump watching Tucker Carlson criticize him for not doing anything about the protests that were in Portland and Seattle, Trump reportedly screamed at Chief of Staff Mark Meadows and White House counsel Pat Cipollone to send in the National Guard, and he called those two men worthless for not doing anything. How much of Donald Trump's thoughts and intentions are as a result of what he conjures up himself versus what he watches on television and thus is reactionary?
Well, I think it's a combination, what what comes into his head for whatever reason, and then what comes into his head through the television. So he's always, and it's always in some sense a confirmation about what he wants to believe or what he wants to hear, or what he thinks will move his fan base.
Who is minding the store when it comes to the campaign fundraising? Because you report that the campaign had, a $200 million budget gap by midsummer. The president believed that then campaign manager Brad Parscale was stealing from him. Where did that come from?
Well, it came from being $200 million in the hole. And then remember, he has to blame someone. In any situation, someone else is to blame other than himself. So, in fact, he is to blame. I mean, he is, and anyone who the head of the ticket, the president of the United States, is ultimately responsible for his own campaign. He's responsible for hiring his campaign managers. He's responsible for knowing what's going on in the campaign. To somehow misplace $200 million, the literal buck is going to stop with the president of the United States because I mean it's going to mean, among other things, that he probably won't be reelected. Remember, Donald Trump went into the last weeks of the campaign, the incumbent being outspent 3-1. That has probably never happened in the history of modern campaigns.
Did Trump even listen to any of his campaign advisors? Because you report that his own pollsters advised him that urging people to wear masks, it was overwhelmingly popular with his base, and yet he refused. His pollsters also told him he would be at a severe disadvantage if he did not encourage supporters to vote by mail, and yet he also refused. I mean, what was the level of frustration within the campaign around these issues?
It was huge. I mean, most of the people in the campaign felt that they were involved in a world-class catastrophe, perhaps the worst-run campaign, or certainly one of the worst-run campaigns in modern history, absolutely the worst-run campaign by an incumbent. And that actually went ultimately to this other thing that people around him feel of Donald Trump's of magic. I mean, because he actually came with this catastrophic campaign very close to winning. But no, I mean, an incredible level of frustration because Donald Trump basically listens to no one.
You report that he actually wanted to reschedule the election, and he has this personal and irrational hatred of Joe Biden that, in fact, it's vastly greater than the way he feels about Hillary Clinton. Why? What's behind that?
No, no one knew. No one knows. And I really went down the list of saying what's going on here. And everybody would kind of shrug because they all admit that he doesn't really know Biden. His interactions with Biden have been at best minimal. So you go into Donald Trump's own fixations here. that the fact that Joe Biden is old, but Donald Trump is also old. The fact that Joe Biden apparently, at least in Trump's mind, he feels he didn't do well in school. Well, Trump did terribly in school. So it becomes this kind of thing that therefore, because Biden has many of the same issues that Trump has, it must be, in order for Trump not to have those issues, he has to then demonize Biden.
Yeah. Last question here, and it really brings it to present day. Describe Donald Trump's nightly parade. I mean, I don't know if you use that word, but it sure seems like that. The way he goes to dinner at Mar-a-Lago, he seems to relish the adoring club members, but he doesn't often dine with them.
Well, he actually, so Mar-a-Lago, the dining area is off of the lobby, and it's about, there are 40 or 50 tables, and Donald Trump eats there every night, and he waits until the dining area fills up. At that point, he enters, and everybody stands up and applauds. And then he goes to a table which has a red rope around it. And he's there, and when Melania is there, they're kind of like a bridal couple. They spend the entire dinners greeting people. Paying people, kissing the ring, having a conversation essentially with a receiving line every night.